All right, in this video we're going to continue on with the price ceiling example, and we're just going to do the economic surplus of it and then kind of summarize it. Okay, so remember we're doing a price ceiling, and this was our example was a price ceiling of the price of $2 for bread. This is for bread. Okay, so let's draw a graph and then figure out how to do the. All right. So let's put our demand here somewhere. Remember, that's marginal benefit. And our supply here, it's marginal cost. Okay. And then we had assumed that our original market price would have been $3. And instead, we have put a price ceiling. So this is our price ceiling. Okay. So in order to do this problem, and I'll use the numbers from before. I think these are the right numbers. The numbers don't really matter. We're not going to use. Okay, so in order to do this problem, we first have to divide up this area. Okay, so I'm just make that go up. And so this is A. All right. So that's what we have so far. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to go through the consumer surplus before and after this policy. Okay. So I think I can just put it right here. Let's see if we should have space. So this is consumer surplus and producer surplus, okay? And then we got economic surplus. There we go. So when the price, when we use the free market and our price is $3, so this is $3, then we're gonna come over here and we just look, from here we can see, well, if the price is $3, so we're here, this price of $3, then the consumer surplus is below the demand curve and above the price. So that's just going to be A plus B. And then the producer surplus is going to be above the supply curve, above the marginal cost, and below the price. So that's going to be C plus D plus E. And so then the economic surplus is just all these put together, A plus B plus C plus D plus E. So it ends up being, you can think of these two triangles put together, but then it becomes one big triangle, right? So these two right triangles turn into one big one. Okay, so that's our total economic surplus when we don't have a price control. Now we bring our price control. When I bring our price control, we end up with this shortage, which we discussed earlier. So people want to buy 30,000, but the companies only want to sell 20. And what gets sold is what the companies are willing to sell. Remember? So we can do it this way. So the companies only sell 20, but they sell them because they can only get $2. So this part right here is this green, what I'm outlining in green. That becomes the new consumer surplus. Okay, so the new consumer surplus is this A plus C. Okay, so this is when we have a price ceiling equal to $2. Okay, so the interesting one is this C. So C is stolen from it's taken from the producers. So in a free market, the producers would get it, and by forcing this price down, you've given the consumers this part C. So the consumers have lost something too. So they've lost this area. They've lost B, which I've just highlighted, but they gain C. And at least in this graph, it appears C is quite a bit bigger than B. So overall, the consumers have more surplus than they did before. And where they got it from the producers. Now then the producer surplus, so again we go up to the quantity we sell, and then below the price is $2. So this blue thing here, this blue one is our producer surplus. So it's down to E. So the producers have lost two parts. They lost C because they went to the consumers. The consumers got cheaper prices now. And they lost D, and so they lost this D part too. Now we'll talk about that in just a second. So now our economic surplus is just A plus C plus E. And we can add a concept here now of deadweight loss. Okay, so before there was no deadweight loss because we're getting as much as possible. There's no deadweight loss, but now there is. So these two parts that are in red, B and D, no one got them. So before somebody got them, but now no one gets them, right? So they're lost. And so we call them deadweight loss because we're not doing as well as we could. So this B and D is called deadweight loss. So this is the cost of this policy. So the cost of this policy for the overall economy, this is one of the costs. Some of the other costs cannot exactly be seen here. We'll talk about this in just a second. But the cost in terms of deadweight loss is right here, this area B and D. So basically, this is caused by, the reason for this is here. So these, from this area, these units from 20,000 until what looks like probably about 25,000, is basically we got a marginal benefit is greater than marginal cost, but they're not produced and sold. Okay, and so we lose surplus. So the consumers lose surplus because they don't get to buy them, and the producers lose surplus because they don't get to sell them. Okay, so there's surplus lost on both sides here. So the B is from the consumers, don't get to consume these units, and D is because the firms don't get to produce them. Okay, so now that we can use this, so we can kind of summarize what we talked about. So we have the consumers that buy, that get bread, benefit, right? And producers are hurt. The producers are hurt in two ways. One is they get a lower price, and two, some of them can't sell them. But also, some consumers are hurt. Some consumers are hurt because can't access the good. So not only is producers are hurt, but the consumers who no longer get access to this good are also hurt as well. Okay, so this is the idea. This is how we show the economic surplus of it. Let's quickly make a list of these costs, and we'll use this example to illustrate them. So these are the costs of the price ceilings. Okay, so first, deadweight loss. What are DWL? So we lose economic surplus, right? This is, you lose econ surplus. Okay. Second thing, we talked about this before, shortages. And these shortages are persistent. So if you put binding price ceilings, you get shortages, and the shortages are persistent. They don't just go away because the price can't adjust to fix them. Third thing, we get wasteful lines and surge costs. So you have to start looking for this stuff now. And so actually in the end, even for those people who get the bread at $2, it might not actually be a very good deal for them because they might have to go to 4 stores before they find one that has it in stock. Or they might have to show up an hour early to wait in line. Okay, so this process of searching for this good that has a shortage is quite wasteful, right? And so that's also there. And also, this can even lead to some kind of corruption related to bribing or selling the goods in some kind of black market, etc. A third thing is it will tend in the long run to lead to lower quality. So what do you think the bread companies are going to do? So they're following this rule. Quantity is easy to measure, right? It's a certain loaf that is a certain size. But quality is not so easy to measure. And so what you might find them doing over time is lowering the quality of the bread that they're producing, right? You cutting corners to save money on the production costs until they can actually make some money off of $2. Okay, so this is the idea. So often if you have price ceilings, it leads to lowering of the quality of the goods. And in the other video about rent control, they talk about that as well. And then the final one, you might have some misallocation of resources. Okay, so the price mechanism helps us to allocate the resources from the companies that produce them for the least cost to the people who are willing to pay the most. And if we have no price to help, if the price is not helping to do the distribution because the price is below the market, then sometimes they won't get the good in so much in that order. So in fact, there might be people who have a lower value who are able to get bread. They have a lower value for this product. And meanwhile, you have people who would be willing to pay more, but they can't get it because it's not available and it's not legal to pay more. So anyways, this example kind of summarizes everything. Go ahead and then look ahead in the other videos for the talking about the other type of price control, which is the price floors.